Before the Apex 4 launch, the Vader 3 Pro was Flydigi's best-selling wireless controller in China among millions of gamers. Or is it billions? Now, with the arrival of the Apex 4 controller, which I can't help falling in love with, could it take that spot? Let's find out. First released sometime around April last year, the Vader 3 Pro controller sold so well because it was one of the better built multi-platform wireless controller with Hall effect joysticks and an actual physical trigger stop. Flydigi even sent one unit over for me to promote, which I agree that it is a very well built and great controller after trying it. But because I was asked to say a bunch of things that I didn't exactly agree on, and I was already extremely satisfied with the King Kong 2 Pro back then, I didn't publish the review video. Fast forward to today, and having used the Apex 4 that I bought myself about 3 months ago, I have to say that the Apex 4 exceeded my expectations and I have not yet touched another controller since. Not literally, but I think you know what I mean. So, consider hitting that subscribe button if you're new to this channel to keep me motivated in making more unpaid videos. And let me share with you the reasons why I love the Apex 4 wireless controller so much as I go over the specs and features, and also briefly comparing to Flydigi's best-selling controller, the Vader 3 Pro. Starting with what's in the box. After opening the minimalistic packaging, you will find a message from Flydigi written in both Chinese and Chinglish, and the controller itself underneath. There's a nicely braided USB A to C cable that's 2 meters long, a USB A 2.4 GHz dongle, some scratch plates for customizing your controller, and a manual. Picking up the controller, oh this thing is heavy. But the overall initial impression of the plastic use feels really premium, and the weight helps add to that impression. It has that same smooth as silk touch that is surprisingly similar to what you will find on premium first-party controllers. The back of the grips of the Apex 4 is also covered with this textured rubber that improves the grip stability and comfort, and has the same quality rubber as the ones found on the special edition Xbox Series controllers. Compared to the previous Flydigi flagship Apex 3 controller, the design language and quality of material used remains mostly unchanged on the outside, with the shape being almost identical to the Xbox Series controller. It also still maintains that comfortable, premium, and well-built feeling when it's in your hands very well. But unlike the Apex 3, which had many issues, the internals got upgraded with features and parts from the popular selling Vader 3 Pro, taking the Apex lineup to a whole new level, and also $40 more expensive. So let's dive into these upgraded features, and I'll start with the buttons. The Apex 4 has a standard set of 12 face buttons, 2 shoulder and trigger buttons, with 4 additional mappable buttons on the back. The D-pad, shoulder, and rear buttons uses tactile mechanical switches, while the ABXY buttons uses clicky micro switches. Here's how they sound like. Depending on your preference, it may take some getting used to the cheeky sound of the ABXY buttons. As someone who mostly used controllers with near silent mechanical switches, it took me about 2 weeks to grow numb to the noise. But by using micro switches, it does have faster actuation and better input response times than traditional membrane and mechanical buttons. And combine that with the 1000 Hz wireless polling rate, which I'll share the details later, you got a controller that can very accurately reflect your inputs into the game. As for the D-pad, for me, it's okay, I guess. I find that it's better than most third-party controller D-pads. The D-pad that I personally love the most and always use as a benchmark when comparing other controller is the D-pad on the Xbox Series controller. And comparing these two, the Apex 4 has a similar smooth and tactile feedback when pressed, so it's quite pleasant to use. As for the trigger buttons, the Apex 4 has improved adaptive Hall effect triggers that is currently only available on this model. In addition to the standard rumble feedback similar to Xbox impulse triggers, there are 4 additional adaptive trigger modes which you can manually set directly from the controller. You can also then fine-tune the trigger effects via Flydigi's PC app to increase immersion, or upload the presets from the app if there's already a supported game. So for example, if you love to play shooting games, the trigger can be set to recoil mode and it will simulate the recoil force when firing a gun like this. It's actually quite a fun experience if you ask me. And if you want hair triggers, you can also enable that directly on the controller. By default, it will have a short trigger stop distance, but it is also customizable via the PC app as well. Moving on to the analog sticks, these sticks are newly developed in-house by Flydigi and are the first of its type that I have used. They feature adjustable stick tension via turning the little dial with the hidden key slotted in the controller. Unlike the sticks found on the Elite 2 controller, there are no fixed levels of tension, so you can fine-tune the stick's tension to your liking. Even with my initial doubts about this feature's usefulness, I did find that it does make some difference in games. As someone who is hopeless in playing shooters with controllers, the Apex 4 did make it slightly easier to aim more accurately when I tightened the right stick. But who knows, maybe this could just be a halo effect, as I feel that I'm still terrible with shooters using controllers. Now, as for which platforms that you can use the Apex 4 controller, it will connect with devices that supports X and D input over Bluetooth, such as mobile phones, PC and Macs, and the Nintendo Switch. Though, to achieve the advertised 1000 Hz polling rate, it is only possible when in wired mode and when connected over the 2.4 GHz dongle as an X input device. When in Bluetooth or other modes, it will only achieve up to a 500 Hz polling rate, which I'll leave the details on the screen. But aside from the impressive fast wireless polling rate, the Apex 4 controller is also able to stay powered up to around 24 hours on a single charge with its 1500 mAh battery. That's about 1 week of gaming on a single charge for me, and it's with the RGB adaptive triggers and the screen on. Combine this with the option to store up to 4 onboard profiles, I can easily switch between my console and button profiles quickly depending on what type of game I want to play and where I want to play without worrying about the charge. So if someone could figure out how to get this working with the PS5, then this definitely would likely be the only controller that I'll be using for quite a long while. So having gone through the key features of the Apex 4 controller, I personally feel that it is not the features alone that made me fall in love with this controller so much, but it's more of how all these features, along with the build quality and the comfortable shape and weight, all coming together to deliver the near perfect user experience when gaming for me. Just to give a few examples, the built-in screen on the Apex 4 allows me to do some basic settings, mode switching, and rear button remapping on the fly without needing to go back to the PC app. It's a very convenient feature that I find very useful, which the Vader 3 cannot provide. It's small things like this that adds to the overall experience for me. And I believe if Flydigi wanted to improve the experience even more, they could throw in a carrying case for more value, add 1 or 2 interchangeable thumbsticks along with a different style D-pad to add more customization options. And that definitely, I think, will give the Xbox Elite 2 and DualSense Edge controllers a good dose of competition, especially since those two Elite controllers are priced slightly higher than the Apex 4. And if $160 is way above your budget, you could consider getting the Vader 3 Pro, which is just as capable and just as good as the Apex 4 controller, and also comes with 2 additional remappable face buttons, but costs only half the MSRP of the Apex 4. Alright, hope you guys find today's video helpful, and thank you as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button and consider sharing it with a friend, as it will help this channel a lot more than you know it, and I'll see you again in the next video. Ciao!